small smile touched Bai Yi's lips as he commented on how quickly she had adjusted, admitting he thought she would have been paralyzed with fear. Qi Yin responded with new confidence, stating that she had worked too hard to be defeated here. Now standing side by side, they prepared to face the restrained D-class monster together, ready for the real battle to begin. Looking at Bai Yi with a confident smile, Qi Yin said she trusted him completely, stating that with him by her side, she knew she wouldn't die. Bai Yi, always practical, immediately cautioned her, reminding her she had used a lot of power on the triple-layered skill and that her energy was limited. Qi Yin simply replied that she knew. This exchange made Bai Yi remember Qi Yin from his previous life. Even back then, she had been a star in their middle school. A flashback showed a younger Qi Yin confidently introducing herself to the class, declaring her dream was to join the Divine Guild and become a divine priest. Bai Yi remembered her as a confident, optimistic, and kind girl. Despite coming from a powerful family, she was always friendly and served responsibly as their class president. He had lost track of her later in his past life and assumed she lived an ordinary life, but in this timeline, he knew one thing for sure: she was someone he could trust. With this reliable ally by his side, Bai Yi felt confident he could pass the assessment while still hiding the true extent of his powers. However, Xiling, watching from the sidelines, scoffed at their new teamwork. He sneered, thinking they were fools to believe they could handle the beast, pointing out that the vine wall wouldn't hold it for more than a few seconds. Real combat wasn't won on confidence alone, he thought angrily, convinced that with their little strength, they had no chance against the enhanced D-class monster he had unleashed. With a cruel smirk, Xiling decided to wait. He would let them struggle and fail, and only when they were desperate enough to beg for his help would he step in. At that moment, he would teach them a harsh lesson about respecting their elders. Just as this thought crossed his mind, the twin-headed lion let out a final, earth-shaking roar and, with a massive surge of power, completely shattered the vines that were holding it. With the enraged beast now free, Bai Yi quickly made a plan. He told Qi Yin he would lure the lion, identifying it as a nuclear type, and told her to watch for the perfect moment to strike. Qi Yin immediately understood. With a shout, they split apart, baiting the fiery lion into a reckless charge. Bai Yi knew that since he had been the one to injure it, the beast's anger would be focused entirely on him. He deliberately led the enraged creature toward a large body of water at the edge of the cavern. Without hesitation, he dove in, and the lion, blinded by its fury, plunged in right after him. Underwater, Bai Yi used his incredible speed to move around the now clumsy, waterlogged beast. Finding the perfect opening as the lion struggled in the unfamiliar environment, he shouted to Qi Yin that now was the time. Responding instantly to his signal, Qi Yin cast her Vine Wall spell just as the lion emerged from the water. The soaking wet beast, its fiery aura gone, was completely trapped by the thorny vines. It roared in frustration, but its power was clearly reduced. With a fierce look of concentration, Qi Yin commanded the vines to constrict. The plan worked perfectly. The water had neutralized the lion's fiery abilities and disrupted its nuclear core. System notifications confirmed that its berserk and nuclear states had failed, leaving it poisoned and unable to struggle free. As Bai Yi emerged from the water and landed on the shore beside her, he confidently held his large blade ready. He declared that the beast could no longer escape, and it was time for them to end the test and claim the highest score. From his hiding spot, Xiling watched the scene, his face full of disbelief. He couldn't understand how a single layer of vines had trapped the powerful lion, especially since he would have struggled against the beast himself, and he had even enhanced its power. He could only stare and curse in frustration. Meanwhile, back in the viewing room, the teachers and staff were analyzing the brilliant strategy. One instructor explained the simple logic. Luring the nuclear-type lion into the water nullified its core skills, while strengthening Qi Yin's flower-type abilities. Bai Yi's teacher praised him for his excellent reactions and leadership, noting how he used basic elemental counters and teamwork to defeat a much stronger monster. The staff concluded that the top spot was now decided. Only the final blow remained. They excitedly discussed that once the footage was submitted to the guild, Bai Yi had a real chance of getting the highest score in the Academy's history. But just as they awaited the final strike, the live feed suddenly went black. The viewers were left confused, wondering why the broadcast would stop at such a crucial moment. Back in the dungeon, the reason was clear. The recording drone lay shattered and smoking on the ground. Zeeling stood nearby, a cruel smirk on his face and a glowing energy bow in his hand. He thought that without video evidence, Bai Yi could forget about getting the highest score. With the threat eliminated, a system notification confirmed their victory over the level 11 D-class beast, awarding them 100 experience points. Bai Yi complimented Qi Yin, telling her it was thanks to her abilities. She modestly replied she only succeeded because she followed his instructions. However, Bai Yi corrected her, explaining it was her own dedicated training that had built up enough elemental resistance, which let her use a single skill so powerfully. Qi Yin looked at him, puzzled, repeating elemental resistance, as if hearing it for the first time. Just then, a disgruntled Xiling emerged from hiding. He condescendingly told them that now that the boss was defeated, they could save their chatting for outside. Bai Yi and Qi Yin simply turned to face him with cold, unimpressed stares. Zeeling told them that he had enough of their supervisor's games. Bai Yi coldly confronted Zeeling, asking if he knew the grave danger he put them in by setting an enhanced D-class monster on new students. Zeeling, turning away, tried to deflect blame, claiming he intended to buff Qi Yin, but she had dodged. Bai Yi immediately cut him off, stating his skills must be pathetic if he couldn't even aim properly. With a piercing glare, Bai Yi questioned how he could call himself an archer with such poor aim. Qi Yin, now equally angry, joined in, remarking it was no wonder he couldn't get into the ultimate school team. Furious at their insults, Xiling spun around, his energy bow flaring as he asked what they had just said. Without flinching, Bai Yi stepped in front of Qi Yin, ready to block any attack. Overwhelmed by their defiance, Xiling's anger seemed to deflate into resentment. He slowly lowered his hand, muttering that the road ahead was long. Turning his back, he gave a final threat, telling them to just wait before storming off towards the dungeon's exit. After he was gone, Bai Yi and Qi Yin walked over to the wrecked drone Zeeling had destroyed. Qi Yin, fuming, commented on their senior's terrible personality. She then noticed Bai Yi examining the broken machine and asked what he was doing. Bai Yi explained their supervisor had destroyed the camera to stop them from getting a high score. Since no one could see them, Zeeling would have to leave and get a new drone. Bai Yi then pointed out that everyone else was far away in their own dungeons, which gave them plenty of time. With a small, calculating smile, Bai Yi remarked that Zeeling had actually done them a favor. He now had the perfect chance to do the rest of the things he had planned. Qi Yin could only stare at him with wide-eyed confusion, asking what he meant and what he was planning to do. Bai Yi led Qi Yin back to the central cavern, stopping in front of the massive, pulsing red seal that held the dungeon's strongest monsters. Turning to her, he asked if she could promise to keep what was about to happen a secret, adding with a smile that no one would believe her anyway. Qi Yin, confused and alarmed, stammered as she asked what he was planning. The scene then flashed back to the alleyway confrontation between Bai Yi and Hong Qiansheng. Bai Yi's deal was revealed. In exchange for helping him get stronger, Hong had to give him the unsealing demon stone that his uncle, the dean, had. Back in the present, Bai Yi held that very stone, a shimmering crystal with glowing runes. He then revealed his true, audacious goal. He was going to use the stone to completely unseal the Spirit Jade dungeon. He placed the crystal on the central altar, and a powerful, dark red energy immediately began to swirl around him. Qi Yin panicked, screaming that he couldn't do that. She reminded him it was a D-class dungeon, and if he broke the seal, all the high-level monsters would be released at once. As the dark energy intensified, threatening to shatter the seal, Bai Yi calmly told her not to worry, explaining the monster's power would still be partly suppressed by the seal's remaining energy. Qi Yin was not convinced, arguing that even so, there was no way the two of them could handle that many D-class monsters. "It won't take two people," Bai Yi stated calmly. As he spoke, a red string bracelet on his wrist began to glow, and a powerful fiery aura erupted around him. Qi Yin could only stare, stammering in utter shock as she witnessed the impossible. Bai Yi stood before her, no longer a warrior, but a mage, holding a glowing staff and surrounded by magical energy. Qi Yin's eyes went wide as she screamed, asking how he could possibly be a mage. As a powerful red aura surrounds him, Bai Yi tells a surprised Qi Yin to stay near the exit for safety. Instantly, the magical chains holding the beasts shatter with a loud crash, and three ferocious, flame-covered lions break free and charge toward them. Terrified, Qi Yin yells for Bai Yi to be careful, reaching out a hand as if to protect him. However, Bai Yi remains calm and faces the approaching beasts. Holding his staff, he summons cloud elemental power as the lions roar. A system notification confirms he has switched to his E-class Cloud Element Mage profession. With a determined look, he unleashes his spell, and a powerful wave of icy energy swirls around the charging beasts. Qi Yin watches in disbelief, realizing Bai Yi has a red profession, a very high rank. She thinks to herself how hard it was for her to control just one lion, and yet Bai Yi controlled all three at once, completely freezing them in a massive block of ice. As they both look at the trapped beasts, Bai Yi explains that after being sealed for so long, it was expected they would all come out at once. With an intense gaze, he adds that he will need a bigger area for what he plans to do next. Understanding her role, Qi Yin clenches her fists and agrees to Bai Yi's plan, quickly retreating to a safe distance. From the broken seal, a new wave of fiery, panther-like beasts emerges, their paws thundering across the ground as they charge forward with glowing red eyes. A much larger and more intimidating monster, a D-class fierce flame leopard, appears and towers over Bai Yi. Bai Yi confronts the beast head-on. He assesses the situation, noting that while the monsters are D-class, their strength has been cut in half from being sealed for so long. As a mage, he uses his ice-forming skill, a technique that turns moisture in the air into solid ice to control enemies. He thinks to himself that his first step is to restrain all of them. As the giant shadow of a beast looms over him, Bai Yi decides it's time to change tactics. A system notification appears, and he switches his profession back to Nuclear Warrior, preparing for a direct assault. Now in his Nuclear Warrior form, Bai Yi dodges a powerful lunge from a D-class fire sword beast, a green aura flaring around him as he narrowly avoids its attack. With a confident smirk, he internally mocks the beast for trying a sneak attack on him. As another fiery beast charges, Bai Yi activates a skill, disappearing in a flash of green energy, just as the monster strikes where he once stood. In a brilliant display of power, he instantly reappears, having switched back to his Cloud Element Mage profession, staff in hand and ready to cast another spell. A close-up reveals one of the beasts completely encased in jagged, cracked ice. Watching from a safe distance, Qi Yin is stunned, wondering how he can switch between professions so freely. It is in this moment that she has a profound realization. Seeing him fight now, she finally understands why he insisted on training in the element room. He was practicing his elemental resistance. She reflects on her own magic, realizing she used to believe strength came from raw power and casting spells often. However, after watching Bai Yi's masterful display, she understands that true strength lies in controlling one's power. Qi Yin thinks about how elemental power comes from nature and is wild and difficult to tame. She now sees that only by gaining complete control over one's elemental power can a person unlock more versatile and powerful techniques. She watches in awe as Bai Yi manipulates the ice he created, turning a basic skill into a weapon and launching shards at the trapped beasts. A spark of understanding and determination glows in Qi Yin's eye. Bai Yi stands calmly. Before him, the entire horde of monsters is trapped, wounded, and defeated within his ice constructs, a testament to his incredible skill. Qi Yin can only look on, amazed that he has already mastered his abilities so completely. Watching Bai Yi's absolute mastery, Qi Yin lowers her head and clenches her fist, a shadow falling over her face. She thinks to herself that he has already left all of them far behind. However, as she reflects on his power, her look of despair softens into a gentle, blushing smile. She admits to herself that he is incredibly cool. Just then, the ground begins to tremble from a massive, thundering footstep. From the depths of the cave emerges the dungeon's true final boss, the Spirit Jade Demon Cave Lord, a colossal D-class fierce mammoth with glowing red eyes and a dark, menacing aura. A status window confirms its level and notes its attributes are halved because it is still in a sealed state. While any other student would be terrified, Bai Yi looks on with intense, glowing eyes, completely unfazed. He thinks to himself that the beast has finally appeared, revealing he had been expecting it. The mammoth lets out a roar and charges forward, leaping over the ice constructs that held the other defeated monsters. In response, Bai Yi is surrounded by a swirl of green energy as he switches back to his Nuclear Warrior class. He declares internally that the very thing he needs is on this beast. He stands his ground, ready for a final confrontation as the massive creature barrels toward him. In a stunning display of speed and power, Bai Yi leaps into the air and delivers a precise, powerful strike to a vital point on the mammoth's forehead, landing a critical hit that draws blood. Bai Yi drives his glowing green dagger deep into the mammoth's tough hide, drawing blood with his powerful strike. He lands gracefully as the colossal beast recoils, now bleeding from several wounds. with a grim expression and blood on his face. Bai Yi internally notes that this sealed level 15 mammoth is weaker than the level 10 monkey boss he fought before. Roaring in pain, the wounded mammoth thrashes its massive head and charges at Bai Yi in a blind fury, its powerful stomp cracking the ground beneath it. Undeterred, Bai Yi moves with incredible speed, unleashing a relentless series of attacks and landing multiple critical hits on the beast's vital points. Overwhelmed by the assault, the mammoth finally stumbles, its massive body beginning to fall. Sensing victory, a new power awakens within Bai Yi. His eye begins to glow with a brilliant golden light, and he is suddenly surrounded by a powerful fiery aura. Holding his dagger ready, he prepares to unleash a devastating final attack. Activating his title, 1 against 100, Bai Yi unleashes his ultimate skill, Sanctuary. A massive, horizontal wave of golden energy erupts from him, sweeping through the cavern and engulfing the mammoth and every other monster in its path. The colossal mammoth can only roar in terror as the overwhelming power washes over it. The attack is so powerful that it not only hits the final boss, but also destroys the other beasts still trapped in Bai Yi's ice constructs, instantly killing them. A flood of system notifications appears, confirming the defeat of multiple D-class monsters, twin-headed lions, fierce flame leopards, and fire sword beasts, awarding him hundreds of experience points for each kill. The final notifications confirm the defeat of the level 15 D-class fierce mammoth, which grants him a massive 1,000 experience points. He also loots valuable materials, including fiery beast bones and a high-grade material called the Jade Tooth, used for forging E-class nuclear weapons. Standing in the now-cleared dungeon, Bai Yi holds a crescent of pure golden energy in his hand. His personal status screen is displayed, showing a significant increase in experience across his flower, cloud, nuclear, and stellar elemental bars. With his objective seemingly complete, he casually dismisses the golden energy with a flick of his wrist and turns to leave. As he walks away, he looks down and sees a peculiar item left behind where the mammoth's body vanished, a pink, yin-yang shaped stone. A system notification identifies the item as the responsive jade stone, a pair of jade stones with a special function. Staring at the precious object, Bai Yi thinks to himself that he has finally obtained it, revealing this was his true goal for unsealing the dungeon all along.
Thanks for watching. I'm going to introduce the new manhwa. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video. And if you want to see a specific manhwa, name in the comments, I will try to make it. It will take long time, but I try to make it, and see you tomorrow.